The question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
Zohran Mamdani, the Socialist Democrat from New York, currently an assemblyman who's running for mayor of that city and most likely will become New York City's next mayor. Thousands of people are supporting his plans, mainly, in my opinion, because they want everything for free. They want low rent. They want free bus rides. They want low-priced food in government-run supermarkets. You know the drill. A socialist dream. Let the government run everything so we don't have to do anything. We could just go to the government for what we need, and it won't cost us a penny. Well, that's what his plans are. He wants to raise taxes on the most wealthy New Yorkers, another 2%. And right now, most wealthy New Yorkers pay almost 50% of their income in taxes. So he wants the rich people to pay 52% of their income in taxes to fund all of his free programs for the New Yorkers who are low income, as he would tell you. This is the United States of America, where the government wants to take control over its residents. And no, it's not the entire country, because President Donald Trump would never dream of such a thing. He wants people to prosper and make their own money and live the American dream. But Mamdani wants to be the ultimate dictator, the socialist dictator, who will tell New Yorkers when and where they can go for food, when and where they can get buses, when and where they can take their children for daycare, and so on. Here's another clip where he sat down with a Fox News reporter and told her about some of his plans to raise taxes on wealthy New Yorkers.
A lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50% of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than, what is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income taxes by 2%.
Is fair?
And my point is this.
Give up more than half of your income. That's
if you're making $1 million in New York City, or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And the reasons you can afford to do so is because that money will be used to better your quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Because when I speak to the wealthiest New Yorkers, I hear concerns about the cleanliness of the city, the quality of life in the city, questions of public safety. This money is the money that will be used to deliver on those things so that we can ensure that we have a return on investment for all of the money that we are raising and spending right here across the 5 boroughs.
And his proposal would raise the corporate rate to something like 11.5%, up from lower levels, thereby generating more revenue to pay for all his free offerings for the residents. Another component is refocusing property tax burdens. His idea, shift more of the burden onto more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Not my words, his words, whiter neighborhoods. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And people are supporting this. He wants to raise taxes for rich white people to pay for everyone else's faults. It's not the millionaires' faults that people are low-income earners, but Mamdani wants to take care of all of that because he doesn't think that the millionaires should basically exist. He doesn't think that they should have such large fortunes without giving some back, more than 50%, to the communities and cities they live in. He wants to reduce the relative burden on overtaxed outer-borough homeowners. He argues the current system undervalues very expensive homes due to assessment caps, so by adjusting the rates and assessment percentages, he plans on raising millions of dollars to pay for all his free offerings. The main arguments from Mamdani and his supporters for why these tax increases on the wealthy are justified and necessary. He frames the tax hikes as a mechanism to reduce inequality. So here we go again. Fair share. Why should they have it and somebody else shouldn't have it? He has even said that he doesn't believe billionaires should exist, or at least their status is incompatible with fairness. So he's punishing successful business people. He wants to punish them for starting a business or just making a lot of money, whether it's in stock trades or what have you. He wants to punish them, and he wants them to pay for everything that he says he is going to give the residents of New York. The city faces a housing and cost of living crisis. For many, childcare, housing, transit, and grocery costs are crushing, he said to the residents. Mamdani argues that the wealthy have contributed disappropriately less than the systems for which they benefit, and they should contribute more. Well, here's my argument. Obviously, Mamdani is a racist because he wants to punish wealthy white people. You didn't hear him say punish wealthy African Americans. No. He wants to go to the white wealthy neighborhoods because they're not paying enough. He wants to freeze rents, which means the landlords who own these properties, most likely wealthy people, will, in fact, lose money because they're not going to be able to increase the rent as things become more expensive, because everything eventually gets more expensive. Blame Joe Biden, blame Donald Trump, blame whoever you want. The point is, businesses who produce goods always raise their costs. So if you own an apartment complex in New York and your tenants are paying rent, it's going to be frozen. So if repairs need to be made, and probably the materials for those repairs will cost more money, the landlord has to just eat it, basically, because he can't raise anybody's rent. Because the socialist wants the government to take care of everything. The government's not going to pay for any of this. The millionaires are, but they want you to believe that they saved you. They're saving you money by not having you pay for daycare, by not having you pay to take a ride on a bus. This is crazy. This is the idea that nothing in this world should be for certain people. Everything should be split amongst everyone equally. So if you're a billionaire and you're not sharing your wealth with lower income earners, then you're a bad person. So if you live in New York and Zohran Mamdani is the mayor, you're going to be punished for just having more money than other people. He wants government-run grocery stores. And I'm going to tell you how I see that. You will receive a number once or twice a month and a time that you can report to the government-run grocery store. And you'll be giving a certain amount of goods, and that's all you're going to get until the next time you're allowed to go back to the grocery store. That will fail miserably, and that will cause more problems than it's even worth. He wants to make sure people aren't starving. If you ever put a government-run grocery store in place, people are going to start rioting. Crime is going to go up outside of these government-run stores because other people are going to want more. And they know they can't afford to go get it elsewhere because they're low income and they're living basically free under the mayor. So they're going to want more. And what are they going to do? They're going to start robbing the other people's food. Yes, that's right. And he is so anti-police, there's probably not going to be any cops around to go take care of all the increase in crime that the mayor of New York City will have caused. Mamdani is anti-police. He claims he never wanted to defund the police, but he says the police are doing too much, like responding to a mental health crisis or a domestic violence dispute. What Mamdani fails to understand is mental health crises and domestic violence disputes are some of the most dangerous calls police officers respond to. But he wants a social worker to go instead. And let's just sit down and talk about it. You know how that's going to go? The social worker is going to end up in the back of an ambulance being taken to the hospital, or worse. That solution he claims he has for this will fail miserably also. This man wants to be a dictator. And we all know there's this big No Kings rally on Saturday the 18th because everybody's protesting Donald Trump because they claim he wants to be a king. Zohran Mamdani wants to be the king of New York. He wants people to believe that he's saving them from all their struggles, when in turn all he's doing is hurting people to give free programs to the people that he thinks need it. How about this? Offer jobs to the low-income earners. Offer job training to the low-income earners. How about reducing daycare costs, never mind free? How about reducing bus fares, never mind free? The socialist mindset is the destruction of any civil society. The government cannot be in control of everything you do, everything you say, and every penny you spend. It will fail all along the way. And New Yorkers are going to see this. If they elect Mamdani, whatever his name is, they're going to see New York implode because the city will be more broke now than it ever was before, because the millionaires and billionaires and the big corporations are going to say, bye-bye, New York. We're out of here. We're not paying for all of your free things that you want to give the residents who basically don't want to go out and get a job and just want to live off the government dime. This man will fail miserably, and New Yorkers will suffer the most if they end up casting a vote for him in the general election.